Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the pleasure of having Andy Bederman with Greenberg Bederman Law Firm out of the suburbs of Washington, D.C. And Andy does PI work, and he's a AV-rated lawyer. He's real big in the AAJ. In fact, he's going to be well, when you hear this, he'll already been there, but he's going to actually be speaking a little bit at our conference, our Pilma conference, trying to help money for the PAC. And we try to let him do that every year that we do it. And hopefully that you get some contributions, I hope, because
Me too. It's tough work.
Absolutely. So to start off, tell us a little bit about yourself, your story, how'd you get into law, and then tell us how all this evolved.
My pleasure. So I've been practicing law to be 43 years this November.
Great.
2 months. It's kind of hard to believe, but I'm still doing it and still and really have no plans to retire because I don't know what else I'd do. Plus, I enjoy the action, if you will. But nonetheless, I'm a native Washingtonian, which is unusual. Most people come and go with every election. And I born here, raised here during the civil rights movement and Vietnam War protests. So it was really a politically fascinating time to be an adolescent here in Washington. I always wanted to be a lawyer. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I watched Perry Mason growing up, and I was terrible in math and science. So those doors were closed to me, and I could always read and write and talk. And I still talk a lot. That's what I get paid to do. But I always wanted to be an attorney, and I went to college and out of town in Wisconsin, went to law school in Cleveland, Ohio. So I was sort of inching my way back east. And after law school, I came back to D.C., and I'm in Silver Spring, which is one of the suburbs of Washington, D.C. I'm literally 6-7 miles from the White House. I'm sort of at the end of 16th Street. And the White House is 1600 Pennsylvania. So I came back. I didn't have a job, didn't really know anyone. There were no lawyers in my family. And I knocked on doors and I got a job. And I did insurance defense for 4 years, which is a great way to learn litigation. If you want to cut your teeth as a litigator, you need to be a prosecutor, a public defender, or do insurance defense work. And I did that. And I realized when I was there that I was wearing the wrong hat. I wanted to wear the white hat. I mean, I wanted to help people, which is probably why I was interested in the law in the first place. And I wasn't really helping people doing defense work, but it was great. And I met a lot of people, got my feet wet. This was from 78 to 82, I did defense work. And in the process of that, I met a lot of plaintiffs lawyers, and I marveled at how most of them worked for themselves. They were the leaders of their own domain. They didn't kill themselves. Except when they had to, and they generally made a nice living. And they did good work because they help people who really need help. And I met a guy this was in the early days of attorney advertising, and I met him, and we got together with the purpose of advertising. This was in 82. And he and I were together 3 years, and it was a good way for me to learn. It was almost like my infancy in lawyer advertising then. And in 85, I got together with my late partner, Roger Greenberg, and again, for the purpose of advertising, and we borrowed some money. We made some ads, and we went on TV here. And nobody else was on TV. This was the early days. The phones all had buttons on them with lights. And back then, it was true direct response. You run an ad and the lights would light up one after another on the phone. Boom, 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 boom. It's not like that now. It hasn't been for a long time, but that's how it was. And that enabled us to build a practice rapidly with the understanding that we always had to do good work. Customer service is what it's all about. And I'll come back to that later. But when you advertise, particularly in the early days, people would respond and the phones would explode. And you had to have the infrastructure, the personnel in place, the systems in place to handle that volume of inquiries, select the cases you wanted to keep, and to work those cases reasonably successfully to a conclusion, in as quickly and as much time as you could. And that enabled us to really build a practice. We were 2 lawyers and 2 non-lawyers then. Now we're 13 lawyers and about 30 in support staff. So that's about as big as I want to be. I don't want to be any bigger than that. But the advertising certainly enabled us to get our names out. We were disliked by everybody back then, but they all do it now. So things come around. And it really helped us build a referral base. And we have a huge referral base now. So in the intervening years, I continued to manage the firm with my partner. We added attorneys. We handled all sorts of cases, auto, premise liability to the extent we have that here. Med mal is big here. And then about 15 years ago, I got into mass torts. When I started going to mass torts made perfect. And that's sort of my cottage industry now, in a sense, and a rather lucrative one. And that's sort of it. I mean, aside from practicing law, I was always involved in trial lawyer affairs on the state level and the national level. I became president of the Maryland Trial Lawyers Association, which is now called Maryland Association for Justice, in 1998, which sort of betrays my age. And then I subsequently became involved in AAJ and just ended a 6-year run as chairman of the AAJ Political Action Committee, which enabled me to crisscross the country and meet thousands of attorneys and speak to hundreds of groups, all for the purpose of raising money to keep the courthouse doors open for everyone in America. So that's sort of my bio in summary. I'm happy to answer any questions you have about me or my practice.
Yeah. So are you still doing the TV advertising, or is it now mostly word of mouth?
No, we've never gone off TV. I think my partner and I, when he was alive, he was afraid to, because he thought the phones would stop ringing. Things have changed dramatically in the last 36 years. October 15th will be our 36th year on the air. And, as time passed, we went from TV to radio, which is still useful. And then with the advent of the internet to digital advertising, which is a lot of what we do now. So I would say that it used to be like this. This was TV and this was digital. It's more like this now.
Right.
Not entirely equal, but getting equal.
Well, you're right, because the TV airways are just saturated now, and
people really don't watch TV the way they used to.
Yeah, everybody's streaming, or
And the pandemic has expedited the departure from traditional TV watching to watching on phones, on iPads, and stuff like that. So we still, I'm still on television, sure, no question about it. I'm still on radio, which I think is a great way to reach people. But I'm a little different than others trying to enter the market, because I have a well-known, I call it a legacy brand here in the district area, in the district metropolitan area, and people know us.
36 years is a long time to be on the air.
He knows us. So the days of direct response are gone. People ask me, well, where do your cases come from? I said, I really can't tell you. I know that that my face is viewable in many different sports arenas, if you will, but I really can't tell you at this point in time. It's rare that someone who's never heard of us sees the ad and calls. That's very, very rare. More often than not, it's people either we've represented, people that have heard about us over the years and wanted to call us should they need us, people we've represented in the past, or people who have been referred by people that we've represented in the past.
Absolutely.
One of the smartest things I did about 10 years ago was hire an in-house digital marketing manager who is a unique person and a real whiz. And I did that after, probably after wasting money on probably 10 of these companies that probably do good work, but they didn't do good work for me. And we decided to bring it in-house, which was the smartest thing we ever did, assuming you got the right person. But go ahead.
No, this is great. Well, one of the reasons I wanted to interview you, was because I was reading your website, and I knew you were a smart marketer, because one of the things I saw on your website was how we're different. And most law firms that are advertising, they really don't try to differentiate themselves. I remember when I did mine, I had how we're different. You don't see that on many websites. Tell our viewers and our listeners, how do you differentiate yourself from all the, because like you said, direct response don't work. I mean, there's thousands of ads every day on TV and radio. How do you differentiate yourself to stand out from the competition?
I think that, I've been involved in the attorney grievance process in Maryland for decades now. So I've seen a lot of attorneys screw up, if you will, not practice properly, certainly not following the appropriate rules of ethical behavior. But, one of the common things, and when I did defense work as well, I was taught this, that when people call, you got to respond to them. So you're going to spend the money to get people to reach out to you, then it's foolish if you don't have an infrastructure set up to handle that call as promptly as you can with an inquiry, because a lot of them come online now. In fact, probably 75% of them come online through the website. But you have to have a system in place to deal with the inquiries, vet them, get the people signed up if it's a case you want, and then to prosecute the case, pre-lit if necessary, in a way that keeps the clients well informed and happy. And we've always emphasized that customer service. I have always avoided trying to attack my competitors. in my advertising. I don't think I need to. Like one of my competitors advertises that they're lawyers that care. Well, I think your work should demonstrate that, right?
Absolutely.
So my response, not even my response, because I've sort of invented testimonials in this market, but we have clients who get on the phone and demonstrate that we care. Like get on the phone, but clients in our video and our testimonials we run on TV will talk about their customer service experience with us, right? And that to me demonstrates that we care. But the bottom line is, I think a lot of lawyers, whether you advertise or not, just don't, not a lot, but certainly enough to make it an issue, don't understand that when someone hires you, they want to hear from you, right? So everybody in my office, if we get a new case inquiry, then we're on it right away, instantaneously. There's a system in place. If we decide to take the case, we get the client signed up ASAP. Pre-pandemic, we had somebody on the road. Post-pandemic, and I learned something here, everyone signs electronically.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. I mean, it's crazy, but everybody does. I can't tell you when I last was told we had a case where someone didn't sign electronically. So we have systems in place. We have an infrastructure. Attempts to take care of people. I believe it does. And that helps our brand and certainly helps support our reputation in the community. And I think we're unique in that sense. I don't want to disparage anybody else, but I mean, I hear from a lot of clients, a lot of people that call us that I still like to talk to people because it's the best way to do marketing research. They tell us they don't hear from their attorney, or if they reach out, they don't get a response. And I think that's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah, well, it's got so when you do so much volume, you just lose sight of it unless you've got a hell of an infrastructure set up.
Have the system in place. Kind of a system in place to handle it.
Absolutely.
And it certainly contributes to your bottom line.
When I had my firm, that we had a rule, the client had to be contacted every 30 days. I mean, that was just the rule. And if you didn't do it, you didn't get your quarterly bonus.
Right.
You had 90%,
We tell people we'll reach out to them every 30 to 45 days by phone or email. But I find that, email has made it a lot easier to communicate with people. Much easier to communicate with people. It's decreased my incoming phone volume dramatically. And it has kept clients informed and happy.
Yeah.
Each of my attorneys and paralegals has their own phone number. It's called, a DID, direct number. And all the clients are given that. And that helps, it certainly helps them communicate with our staff and vice versa. Another thing I did some years ago was had a software patch created that automatically redirects incoming calls from clients whose numbers are in the system to the appropriate handler. So it'll skip the reception desk and go to the paralegal or to the attorney, to his or her direct number. And that's improved communication quite a bit. And we also created a number for non-clients, really for medical providers and adjusters. And they're given a different number to call. And when we send them a rep letter, the case number is there. They're given a different number to call. They enter that number and that goes to the appropriate paralegal. All of which was designed and done to decrease volume at the reception desk and free them up to handle any incoming new case calls and the like. So that's helped us quite a bit.
Hey, all you listeners. Be sure to join us at the 2021 PILMA Super Summit in Washington, D.C. at the Grand Hyatt Hotel, September 29 to October 2nd. For more details, be sure to check out our website at www.pilma.org. That's www.pilmma.org. Thank you very much.
Have you found since the pandemic, a lot of the clients are willing just to get on a Zoom with you instead of coming in the office?
We haven't really seen anybody in the office since the pandemic started. Now we're in the DC area, which is, which has sort of been stricter than other parts of the country. But yeah, some clients are, a lot of them are most willing to Zoom. I find folks are just happy to talk by email or phone. If they want to see me, which very few do, they can see me on TV, I guess. Then we'll set up a Zoom and we'll deal with it that way. Yeah. Or if they want to check, they come by the office and we'll have somebody bring it out to the car or something. Hopefully that'll change in the next 6 months or year. We get back to normal.
Well, so what, if anything, do you do? You said you get a lot of referrals from past clients. What, if anything, do you do to help push that or create that, or does it just happen?
It just happens. I've told people, I've mentioned to clients in the past, the great, thank you, but a real honor would be for you to refer me someone. But, I haven't mind that. I think that folks, if they want to do it, they do it. Most folks understand it. And if they want to refer someone to me, they'll refer someone. More importantly, people will tell other people that they've heard about us, but they know people that have had cases with us, right? And that's why they call. There's a lot of competition here now. I got John Morgan came to town. He's outspending everybody. God bless him. Because every time a new lawyer comes to town, it's called turbulence in marketing. It reminds everybody that there are lawyers out there who can help them. So it increases my intake. Thanks, John. There's far more competition than there was 35 years ago. I mean, it's insane. I'm not the largest spender on TV and radio anymore, which is okay. But I have to tell you, my intake the last couple of months has been exploding. I think it's a function of more people being on the road and the fact that our marketing is successful. I mean, the whole package, the TV, the radio, the digital stuff. I think it's just all working. It's all banging on all cylinders now. So I don't want to complain about it.
So what kind of ads do you run? I mean, what would you tell lawyers that are thinking about going on TV? What kind of ads do you think are the most successful ones?
When I tell
testimonials?
Lawyers, I would say, I would tell a young lawyer that the internet has lowered the barriers to entry, and that if you really want to hit a home run, I wouldn't necessarily waste my time on TV because it's expensive, and it's made more expensive by the amount of competition. I would just find a practice area that no one else has really marketed for digitally. It may not be auto accidents or other PI cases, but there's other stuff. And I would just go after that digitally. And if you don't want to do that, I think you can probably try to enter the market on the internet less expensively than you can on television.
Yeah.
In terms of our messaging, we've taken a different approach to messaging than some of my competitors have and other friends of mine around the country. And you got the Texas Hammer, my friend Jim Adler, who stands on top of a tractor trailer and dominates the state of Texas. I mean, but that's really not my style. It's worked beautifully for him. He's the nicest guy you ever want to meet. It's worked well for him. We've always sort of been low key. We've wanted to, for the first 25 years or so, my late partner was the spokesperson because he wanted to be a celebrity. I had no interest in it. Then a couple of years before he passed away, may he rest in peace, there's a lot of competition. All the messaging looked the same. So I said, let's do something different. Let you and I do this together. And we hired a production company and spent more than we'd ever spent on advertising. But it was just me and him sitting there sort of at a desk. It was almost like a give and take, an interview between the both of us. It was filmed beautifully, but the message is always the same. We are, we're local people and we do good work, and if you have a car accident or you're victimized by a doctor, right? Or you were denied Social Security disability benefits, call us. And so the messaging was really, it was almost like we in a sense became television personalities, if you will. He wasn't, I am now for sure. Because he passed in 2013 and I've been the exclusive spokesperson since then. So we do messaging by me, and then we do testimonials featuring actual clients. We're getting ready to shoot in 2 weeks, actually, and we just selected some people for that. And those are very effective. And then the last thing we do that's effective, I think, I was in California, my kids and grandkids are there. So I was driving down the road and I saw a Jacoby and Myers billboard that had a Google review on the board, on 5 stars. And we harvest reviews, which is something I'll come back to. Very, very important these days. So I said, let's make some TV ads doing that. So we get a lot of reviews. Virtually all of them are good, thank God. I was going to get a bad one. You can't help that. And we had, so to me in the beginning, I'm Andy Bederman for 35 years. We've been helping people in the DMV, but don't take it just from me. Or just don't take it from me or something like that. And we had voiceovers, had the review, the text of the review appear on the screen with the 5 stars and then a voiceover reading it. We did those in 15s and 30s and they're very effective.
Yeah, I teach at Pilma that what you say about yourself is good, but what others say about you is golden.
No question about it.
We
harvest reviews. We have for a while, in that we do a post settlement or post resolution survey. We call the client, are you happy? This and that. If you weren't happy, why? Most of the folks are happy, thank God. Virtually all of them are. And then from that, we ask them if they're willing to put a review up. And if they say they are, and someone calls them and gets them a link and they generally put it up. And that's very, very effective. But by the same token, being a TV advertiser of 35 years duration around here, I get calls about anything and everything. And I've had people post 1 stars because we don't take their case.
Yep, that happens.
It does happen. And I've had people post these reviews anonymously. So we have a protocol for that. We know, and if anyone wants to know how we do it, reach out to me and I'll put them in touch with my digital marketing guy. But we have a protocol in place where we know within minutes when a review goes up on Google or Yelp or wherever. And a bunch of people get an email, and then we reach out to the person and speak to them and try to get, if we can, to try to get them to take it down. And if they won't take it down, then I'll respond. There's to be a response under my name, which people have told me that they actually really like. They appreciate that. So that's very important in this environment, extremely important.
Yeah, I agree.
How many people I speak to, and I do some intake from time to time just to see what's going on, ask people why they chose us. A lot of them say the reviews.
They say over 80% of the people, especially online, they're going to look at your reviews.
No question about it.
You know, it's how many reviews do you have now, Andy?
I can't tell you offhand, but hundreds. I don't know how many we have. A lot. We try to get at least 5, or try to get 5 a month if we can. Not always easy, sometimes folks don't want to do it. But no, I can't tell you how many we have. There's a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, I think you hit on something real important. I've always said that if you can get enough reviews to get and have everything else right on your Google My Business page and get in that 3-pack, that's free gold in real estate on the web, on the SEO, on the front page of Google.
Yeah.
Are you doing any LSA ads?
Yeah, we are, but I don't know much about it. I mean, I know we are. My digital marketing manager handles all that stuff, which is why I got him. So I didn't have to learn about it. But yes, we were doing it, and we was going strong for a while. Then it kind of faded. And a lot of people shared that I spoke to had the same experience. And I don't know why. I think maybe Google's reevaluating this whole thing.
I think so many PR lawyers have found out about it now. I think the first 3 or 4 months,
right. I mean, thank God I don't have to rely on that for business, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
No.
So we do TV, radio, and digital is a broad category. We do. When I say digital, I mean also streaming. We just, in the most recent buy, we upped our expenditures on streaming directly from stations, right? Like you can stream NFL games through the local Fox affiliate here.
Right.
Like that. And we stream, and we're doing an experiment with OTT just now, actually, for this quarter. It's starting, and we'll see how that works. And that's streaming, but not directly from the station. And then we do a lot of YouTube advertising. I'm probably giving away the keys to the cupboard, but that's okay. It's not rocket science.
No, I've been pushing our people to do YouTube ad. I think that's where it's at. I think it's where it's going to be at for the next 2 or 3 years.
It's huge, and a lot of people watch it. I've tried the last 10, 15 years, I wanted to get a younger clientele. So I went on hip hop radio here, which I'm still on, and similar radio. And then we do hip hop. We do YouTube content that should be viewed by a younger audience.
Right.
And that seems to be, I'll tell you, whatever's happening, it's really been successful the last couple of months.
Well, great. So getting ready to finish up here. So any kind of advice you would give lawyers out there that they're thinking about, going big time on advertising? I think you already said it, but.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's business to be had out there. Certainly the playing field is different than it was in 1985, because you got TV, radio, and this digital monster, which encompasses a lot of things. But I think if you're going to invest the money to advertise in any medium, then you should invest a similar amount in your infrastructure, your back room, as we used to call it, so you can process the work that comes in.
Absolutely.
You're just wasting your money, and you're going to get bad reviews, and you're not going to develop a good reputation in the community. I think, as you pointed out at the beginning of this podcast, I mean, knowing how to handle cases and having the systems in place to handle cases is as important as the marketing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate today. And if somebody wants to get up with you, Andy, to give some money to the PAC or ask you some questions about how the best way they can get up with you,
you can email me, Bederman, Abederman @gblawyers.com, or call me if you want, 240-485-1641. I'll be at your conference in DC next week, and on Thursday the 30th around noon or 12:15, I'm going to beg for more PAC money. That's what I do in my spare time.
It's a worthy cause, my friend.
I appreciate that.
Because if you didn't do it, we wouldn't have jobs.
You're right about that, because the cavalry ain't coming. The cavalry ain't coming, I'll tell you that.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. Until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.